We're going to call today's talk Ignoring the Noise. The other night, we went out for a family event, and some of you rode with us. And one of you was talking about a coworker and that he wasn't married, he was getting older, and he had decided that listening to all of his friends complain about their spouses, and from what he had seen, he probably never would. And I hated to hear that because I know all of you guys are looking and believe in marriage and looking for a spouse. But it's tough, especially when it's someone you work with, and that the way of the world, most people do get divorced, but you just have to gird yourself and ignore all the noise. And like a lot of things we say, I've said to you guys, when everyone else is going right, you go left. Doing the opposite of the main culture, especially like in business and stuff, can be rewarding. But in our topics too, keeping up with the Joneses, measuring yourself against others, this is the same thing. You just have to ignore this noise. And there's a reason so many of these people, you were telling us that the husbands are miserable, there's money issues quite often. I was just so surprised at the stories, coming out. And I can tell you what one of the main reasons why all these people are so miserable and they're having issues is going back to my talk about being equally yoked. They probably were in lust, not love. They found someone they really liked, didn't kind of measure themselves and say, hey, can we do this long term, and have those serious talks. We've had videos about that, those hard conversations you have to have. They probably said, hey, I like you, you like me, let's get married and see how this shit rolls out. Next thing you know, they got a kid, which initially never makes anything easier. People think, oh, we're having some trouble, let's have a baby. And that's like when you're drowning and someone throws you a 100-pound weight and says, keep swimming. It's stressful. Sleep, money, time, energy, having that whole new dynamic is very stressful. So I think all these people just got started off on the wrong foot, and now they regret it. And I hate to hear that. And there's ways around it, but this coworker says he looked around and saw all of his friends, everybody who's suffering and struggling, they complain, and he just probably doesn't want to get married. And again, that ties into another video. Keep your cards close to your vest. You don't have to go around bitching about your spouse because you got into a fight, or because they cooked the food you didn't like, or maybe they went out and bought something that they really wanted and didn't confirm it with you. It shouldn't be happening per se, but it happens. Just random weird things. Your mom's always coming home with stuff from Aldi. It's whenever she pulls up and I help her with the groceries and she says, never mind, leave the back door shut. That's the first place I look, in the back of her car. And usually under some blankets and bags is the recent Aldi find that we don't need. But lest I digress, I love her and I give her some latitude. And that's what you got to do as well. But I just thought I would talk about this today because it struck me so hard that this is affecting, not only one of you guys and your coworkers, and there's some other coworkers that are listening to this cat talk. So you have to tune this noise out and take it for what it's worth, not much. And set your own path. The road less traveled is the hard one. Getting married, staying married, it's freaking hard. Trust me, over 28 years now, it's hard. Having to live with another person, take their feelings into account, be accountable to them, but it's also very rewarding, and it's your secret weapon in life. Having a supported spouse, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't have mom. Stayed home with you guys. I was able to have a family, a loving wife. She took care of me when I worked 12, 14, 16-hour days. Didn't complain. Knew that was what it was. She could see the light at the end of the tunnel, that we were creating something special. I took her along for the ride. I get advice from her occasionally. And we wouldn't be as successful as we are just doing this on your own. I wouldn't be here probably, because she is the one that discovered my skin cancer and forced me to go to the doctor, made the appointment, and the doctor said I was probably a month away from systemic cancer, and it saved my life. So that alone having a spouse that can do that for you, much less my most recent health issues where she threatened to, and apparently had consulted an ambulance company that would forcefully remove me from the home and take me to the hospital if I didn't go voluntarily. So those are the things a spouse can do for you. But don't listen to all the noise that's out there, because the world we live in today, also, they just tell you, hey, it's okay to quit in every aspect of your life. There are people that just say, I'm disabled. I can't work. I can't work at an office. I can't work from home for more than a few hours. I have to have my cat as my emotional support animal or my miniature fucking pony. And I can't go into an office, so I want disability. I can't work 40 hours a week. That's the world we live in. Don't listen to that noise. You know, do what we've talked about in all these videos. They all kind of tie together. They have have somewhat of a theme. Doing the opposite of everybody else, not listening to what everyone else says can or can't be done. Usually it's can't. You can't stay married. You know, marriage isn't worth it. You know, after a couple of years, marriage is just a pain in the ass. You can't listen to that stuff. And we talked about saying can't. Don't listen to that stuff, because it just will eat you up and make you think, you know, regret your decisions. Look forward, create your own path, be equally yoked, have the hard conversations with that person you want to marry. Make sure that you're lined up. You know, do they want kids? Are they a cat or a dog person? You know, are they conservative or liberal? These are things you need to know going into a marriage, because lust wears off. Love lasts forever, but that lust will wear off quickly. And then you're thinking, wow, I should have probably measured this relationship a little better, besides just thinking I'm marrying a hot chick or a good-looking dude, you know? So hopefully, again, this just is one of those talks that I want to make you think. I want to make you see a different perspective from the world, from the old man, about what he does and talks about. And, you know, find a good spouse, stay married, do the hard things. Some days will be easy, some days will be hard. That's just the way it is.